The 5 weeks over the summer, I think, one of the most important parts of the most important part of the offseason. Just now that the guys are back, I know there's 90 of them, but generally speaking,
91,
international pathway. How'd they do? How do you feel about how the guys came back?
I mean, whether you were in a coma when I answered Tom's question, or typing on your phone or tweeting, I don't know, but I spent 5 minutes answering that question. And I can go back through it, but I'd rather not.
I love that guy. We agree, Coach. Boston has entered the chat here on a Wednesday, July 23rd, inside our Salem 5 studios. By the way, first day of training camp. Football is back, baby! Burr, burr, burr. Woo, woo,
I'm
woo.
still dying at that.
I love it.
Like, don't be that. I think that this is a misconception when you first get into journalism and they're like, hey, just ask a question. Make sure you say, like, the outlet that you're with. But, like, don't be that guy. Don't be that gal. You don't have to just ask a question to ask a question. We are in a completely different era of journalism now.
Well, we also all have 2 ears and 1 mouth, which means you should listen more.
Yeah.
He just answered the damn thing.
All of
you
it.
weren't listening, and then you asked the same question. I'm with Vrabes on this. By the way, Travis Thomas here with the Kasey Hudson in the house. We thank you for always joining us. We will be talking training camp because, duh, it's football season. We'll get into it. Also, well, the Red Sox. Rough night at the office.
Staying in the red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But about training camp, we'll get to the Red Sox later. Let's start with camp on happier times here. 617-790-0928. Call us. Let us know your expectations. Are you excited for Patriots camp? Can you smell? Can you taste the football in the air? I can. It's delicious. Tweet at us, hashtag NESSNChat. Email us at chat@nesson.com. Okay, let's get into this. So that was a spicy Mike Vrabel.
We love spicy Vrabes.
He's setting the tone.
Yeah.
And I want to start there because I admire this about him that I've noticed. Mm-hmm. I got here to town at the very end of Bill Belichick, okay? Mm-hmm. He was miserable at the end. I think he was miserable even when they were winning, but at least most media members, fans have been here forever. They saw happy Bill Belichick. I didn't see any happy Bill Belichick. It was a mess at the end. They were falling apart. We know the story, right?
Yeah.
The end of the story was not good for him. And he was just miserable all the time. And it was tiring to me. And it was just like, gosh, I was outside of the market watching this guy from far. He seemed miserable. I'm here. He's miserable. This is tiring.
Yeah.
What I like about Mike Vrabel, even there, being spicy-mouthed, he was checking dude.
Yeah.
And he's right. Like, bro, you're not even listening. I just answered this. He's in mid-season form already. Mm-hmm. But I've also seen happy Mike Vrabel. I've seen leadership Mike Vrabel. That introductory press conference that he had, maybe I'm a prisoner of the moment because we all lived through the Gerard Mayo experience.
True.
But it was so good, and it was so refreshing, and it just felt like leadership all over it, right? I think back to the Stephon Diggs Love Boat incident this offseason.
Right.
Mike Vrabel took the arrows. Mm-hmm. We didn't talk to Diggs till much later, and by then he couldn't say anything because, right?
He was able to stick with his one
Yes,
line.
yes. Mm-hmm. But Vrabel took those arrows that day. I think it was OTAs or minicamp or something. So I like that we get different looks of Mike Vrabel, and it's not always the same miserable, curmudgeon, grumpy guy.
Right.
He will check you if he needs to. You get that from him. I'm sure he does it with the players too. Mm-hmm. But he's also very transparent. And he's very open. He's very honest. And he does have fun. Yeah. Like, I like that. It's refreshing to me.
Well, it's authentic.
It's authentic.
Because with that specific scenario, he's letting you know, I'm not going to repeat myself over and over again. Like, I'm taking time to answer questions. You need to take the time to be present. And I think he's also setting the context of how press conferences are going to be. There's not going to be any gotcha moments. You're not going to try to retool and ask a question in a different way to see if you can get something different out of it. Because to a degree, especially if he answers the question at length, there's no rephrasing it. Right. I answered everything that I'm going to answer to the length in which I'm going to answer it. Let's move on. And with the amount of excitement around this team, you don't want to continue to follow up on a generic question such as, like, how did the guys come in? I can't tell you anything about the guys. Like they might not be morning people. They might be quiet in the morning and then let off on the field. Like it's just, what is the point of that? And then to follow up and repeat it when he already went there. So I think it's just more so setting the foundation of like, if you didn't know beforehand, you know, how Vrabel's press conferences worked, or like, you know, where the attitude scale can go. Now you're fully aware. And if he's going to take the time to show up and answer questions, you need to take the time to sit there and listen.
You know, you really said a word that stuck to my ribs there. Authentic.
Yeah.
That's literally, that's it.
Yep.
Because even when you think about Vrabel as a player, he was authentic. He was a tough guy. He was a leader. Everything you see as a head coach, he was, and he embodied as a player, which is why he's so uniquely qualified to be the Patriots head coach.
It's got the perfect blend. You brought up the Love Boat situation, right? So you're talking about a player's coach that he's not trying to put on any cinema for anybody else. Like, if his goal wasn't to make a case out of Stephon Diggs, he's not going to put him in any sort of position to put the arrow in his back or foot. So he can weather the storm that is his player, and he can handle that outside of the camera and all of the questions. But then also he shows you that, like, when it's time to talk business and get down to business, that's where their heads are at. So he's got tunnel vision. And that's what I like about him. He takes every account and situation as is and in that moment, and I think that's where the authenticity really comes through.
I hope it rubs off on this team, because everything I'm getting, the authentic, the words we're using, authentic, leadership. He's a tough guy. Mike Vrabel's a tough guy. Played like it and coaches like it. A lot of those Titan teams were really tough. We need that here. I mean, these last few years, Case, Lord have mercy. 4 wins. Just dreadful football. The offense can't do any. Oh, my God. I just want to see. Honestly, they're not going to win 4 games. Like, I think they'll be better than that. But even worst case, it's 6, 5, 7. It's going to be a better product.
Yeah, it's how they win or how they lose. You know what I mean? Like, is it going to be these gruesome, tough to watch losses? Or, you know, are they going to be fighting to the bitter end of things? And seeing that grit in a completely, you know, new but refamiliarized system is one thing. But a new head coach in a new era is another thing. No doubt. All right, we started the show with a spicy Mike Vrabel. But as that press conference went on, he got kinder and gentler. And he gave us all an idea of what camp's going to look like, at least in the early goings. Take a listen.
We'll try to get as much done as we can in 90 minutes. We'll try to get as much done as we can in an hour and 5 minutes. Try to get as much done as we can in an hour and 20 minutes. And we're always trying to do those things. There'll be days where we just walk through, and you'll say that's probably unique or new, but we still have to stay with our installation schedule. We're not necessarily giving them a day off. We're coming in, we're meeting. But when we go out on the field, you know, maybe it's every 4th day, we're trying to stay on our installation, do third down, do red zone, but maybe in a walk-through pace. But we're still trying, but that gives us an opportunity to break up into 2 spots to where you've got an offense and defense going against each other, and an offense and defense so everybody's working. So nobody's standing around. They're actually in there. They can take a rep. They can take a walk-through rep. They can see themselves on film. You know, we just try to, whatever the rules are, we try to follow them and make sure that we're coaching and teaching, being creative, and then also obviously competing when we're out there.
Case, what jumped out to me there was that's the advantage of having a coach who used to be a player. Now, it doesn't always work out.
Big time. You took the words out of my mouth.
It's true.
Balance.
You could hear it.
Yes.
Because you think of like a Jim Harbaugh, a Dan Campbell, D'Amico Ryans in Houston.
Yeah.
Players, guys who played the game at a high level.
Yeah.
They understand, okay, some days we're going to go hard. Some days we need to walk through. You heard them. We need to walk through it. They have a better pulse, maybe, on what the players need in the moment. And I think Vrabel has that figured out. So
I know I keep like repeating it, balance, balance, balance. But it's when you have that form of playing in your background, especially when you're trying to go, you know, deal with weathers and reps, and when the guys are actually digesting things or not over trying to work something, because at some point you get mental fatigue.
Yes.
Dan Campbell and a number of head coaches have talked about how important the mental reps are just in equal measure to those physical reps. So I like the fact that basically he's saying we're going to take it a rep and a moment at a time. And
Yes.
like sometimes sitting there and understanding and having the visuality of something is going to help it translate, because some players are intuitive. They got to feel it out, but they've got to be able to lock it in mentally first. So
Hey.
everything is going to be taken in the degree in which you have to. But those former players, they know where the exhaustion kicks in. They know where the mental muscle taps
Yes.
out, and you have to be able to weather that properly.
Because they've been there, done that, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a Libra, so preach on about balance.
I am
I'm
not
all good.
balanced, but I can tell you about conversations down in Florida, because you have to be cognizant of guys who can't, handle the temperatures
heat.
and stuff like that. So
Good
there's
point.
all these different variations.
Well, Hunter Henry talked about how much of a leader this head coach is as well.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, he's been great, man. And I think everybody can see that too. I've loved being around him, just as a person, first and foremost. I mean, he's been awesome building that relationship, but also just as a coach. It's been a lot of fun just being in the meeting room with him. He's done it at a high level as a coach, but he's also done it at a high level the same as us as players. And so to kind of have both those things for us to be able to lean on is huge. And so I'm excited to, dive into training camp with him and then, get ready for this season.
Well, I'll be doggone. Hunter Henry watches Boston has entered the chat, because that's just what we said.
He did. He borrowed our words.
He said it word for word.
And he seems so excited about it, so positive, so upbeat.
I mean, by the way, that's a veteran guy, been around the league, different teams, telling you, no, our head coach is really him.
Yeah, he's that guy. But what I also like about it too, and I don't want to take away from guys and women that have the capability of coaching, because, at the end of the day, strategy
Yeah.
and being able to see things is really where it takes off. But I think it minimizes the communication that has to be kind of overdone sometimes. There's just a level of understanding when you trust that your coach has played before and they already know and understand where you're coming from mentally and physically. And I feel like we kind of got that energy from Hunter Henry.
Now, leadership comes in many different styles and many different forms. It doesn't always have to be your head coach, which we are talking about the head coach. But there is a stud corner on this team. Maybe you heard of him, Christian Gonzalez. Yeah, he's saying, yeah, I'm good out here, but I'm also a leader, but I just lead in different ways. Take a listen.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I can improve in that. And I mean, everybody leads in a different way. I mean, I'm can't sit up here and say I'm gonna get up in front of the team and give a team speech. It's just not who I am. But I can lead and by example and in other ways. I love when people can come up and ask questions about anything, not even just football, off the field stuff. I enjoy it. So being able to take that step is something I look forward to.
I love that he illustrated there are different ways to lead.
Yeah.
Because as a loud, obnoxious person, I'm a vocal leader. Casey's the quiet, strong type, much like Christian Gonzalez. She shows up every day, she puts in the work. That's leadership, right? So there are different ways to do this, because you can't get a word edgewise out of Christian Gonzalez. He just doesn't talk. But on that field, he is the truth. And
so loud.
I love that soundbite, because he's clearly embracing his leadership style.
Yeah. Well, that's how you can be the best leader,
Yes.
is like knowing what it is. As somebody who, almost every team I had been a part of, I had ended up in the captaincy spot, but it was because my personal style was to get to know each person individually and speak to what I knew worked for them. It takes a lot more work, but if I know your character, if I know what works for you, I feel like it just moves things along faster. And I kind of get that vibe from him, because he's talked about his leadership style before during mini camps a couple months ago, when they were like, yeah, you just have this way about you. And he's like, yeah, I'm not loud, but like I lead by example, and sometimes leading by example opens up conversations, and that's going to just help him kind of have this more intimate dialogue with his teammates and also inspire him through what he's doing. And he's just really stood on that. He leads by example, and you got to love those kind of leaders.
You talked about how you think this defense could be special.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you something. Him and Carlton Davis together as a 1-2 punch
We
in
already
that secondary.
know where I'm at with that.
That's going to be a problem. In fact, Christian Gonzalez talked about, hey, I'm learning from a Super Bowl champion here in Carlton Davis. I know everyone's talking about us as a 1-2 punch and how great I am, but I'm learning from this other guy who's been at the top of the mountain.
Well, on that, we talk about Christian talking about how he's a silent leader, leads by example. Carlton Davis leads by example too. I mean, any roster that he's been on in that secondary, I mean, more so I'm talking about the Tampa Bay Bucks as well as the Lions, but everyone has said that, like, the way that he shows up, the way that he carries himself, but he has an energy about him that just makes people want to play harder around him. And that was always a topic of discussion back in Tampa Bay when they were the grave diggers. He was leading the charge on, like, the slogan and the hype and the excitement, but his biggest thing was, like, we're not going to be all hype.
Right.
And he takes that personally. I can speak to that. So, like, this is a defense that doesn't want to be all hype. And this is a team that's going into this with a lot of hype around their name. So, like, think about the tone that has to be sent from a leadership perspective as well as a production perspective for this defense.
Don't believe us? Just watch. Here's Christian Gonzalez on Carlton Davis.
Yeah, I mean, it's been awesome to it was fun to be in here with him during OTAs, pick his brain a little bit. It's, he's won the Super Bowl. He's done it at the highest level. He's done it for a long time. He's made a lot of plays. So, it's always great to have that vet in the room because you can lean on him, ask him questions, how he sees certain things, and just, it's fun being on the field with him and all the DBs. So I'm excited for it.
We're excited too, Christian. Honestly, let's talk about the defense as a whole now.
Yeah.
We'll get out of the secondary specifically. But for those guys to be as great as we think they can, I think this front seven, if they can just generate some pass rush for the love of all things holy, because you ain't been able to do it in a few years here, okay? Maybe since Judon was here, I don't think you've been able to get much pass rush. We think now, with the offseason that they've had, Christian Barmore back in the fold now.
Exactly.
We think this defense is going to get some push up front. That only helps the guys on the back end of the defense.
Right.
I believe in totality now, this defense, Kasey, could be special. They could be special.
Well, you're already hearing them talk about themselves being the defense and a way that knows that they're capable of taking the next steps. And I hate to always lean on injury and stuff, but I mean, you had a number of guys that you couldn't particularly rely on for an entire season. So hoping that health remains on everybody's side, like, the expectation and the drive is there for this defense just to get that much better. But you've got a great mind and someone who can probably help these players take the next step.
Yes.
Absolutely. And that
Absolutely.
changes a lot of things in terms of them actually being able to execute rather than kind of getting stuck through part of the motions or part of the execution. And I feel like they're in a better position to do so.
I would agree. I think it helps you get your defensive coordinator back now. I mean, they went through all these mini camps and OTAs without Terrell Williams, who had a health scare. He's back. I just think everything's kind of coming together. We talked about, hey, is Trey Hendrickson in play for this team? We'll see.
Right.
But even if you don't get him, what you do have now on paper with this defense and the guys we have seen before, like
still
Gonzalez and
regarded
others,
higher.
is still
Yes.
where it should be. In fact, Mike Vrabel talked about getting Terrell Williams back after this health scare. He is back at camp now, healthy and ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, I mean, he's the only D-line coach that I've had. Just a great reach to every player on the football team. I saw him reach young offensive linemen that were across the ball, but, he worked with extensively in different drills or pass rush drills. He's got a great perspective. I think it's just helped me personally to kind of, reach guys that maybe I haven't been able to reach. He's been a great mentor for young coaches as well. And I think our players have always responded very well, and his units have always been prepared and productive no matter who he was coaching.
It's always better, Case, when you have a mad scientist putting it all together. We always talk about, hey, Josh McDaniels on the offensive side. He's going to fix the offense, work with Drake May. Terrell Williams deserves some props, too, on the defensive side. I think he's going to make this all work.
Well, I mean, Vrabel said it. There's already a level of trust there and where he knows that he can actually speak to these players in a different way. I think that's something that should be kind of stick a pin in it and highlight it a little deeper there. When he can talk to young players or kind of get the most out of players, when you can get more potential out of someone and make them believe in what they can do for this team, you're going to be able to take the next step. And that's all we're looking for out of this defense. A defense that can take the next step, be a little bit more formidable than they were previously, and stay healthy. But I like the trust factor there for a number of reasons because, like touching back, a number of these defensive players on the line, they were excited for what they can do.
Yeah.
Barrymore being one of them. They know that they have to get to the quarterback. They know what the expectation is so that everybody can focus on their role and things aren't bleeding over because they're all just trying to make this grand effort to shut things down.
617-790-0928. We want to hear from you. Your expectations on the Patriots camp, Patriots season. How many wins are we going? Case and I are kind of in the same range, 7 to 9 wins-ish.
Yeah.
You feeling that?
Yeah.
10?
Down an 8. No, I wasn't.
All right, yeah, okay, 7 to 9 wins. We're there. We're there. Hey, we want to hear from you. 617-790-0928. By the way, George Malecki at camp
Live.
today. He'll be there live. Foxborough Rush, 1 o'clock right here on Nessa Nation. Make sure you check that out. I want George in like a Tom Brady. I wish I knew how to Photoshop. That'd be a nice promo.
Can we put him in a throwback?
George's face, Tom Brady, throwback patch uni, live from Foxborough. Check us out. Boston has entered the chat. We don't have that promo. We have this one every Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. on Nesson, 9 a.m. right here on Nessa Nation. When we come back, we're talking the Sox. They came up short last night again in Philly. We'll look back on that and then look ahead. Next, right here. Welcome back to Boston has entered the chat. Well, the Red Sox lost again last night. Thank you and good night. Oh, we have to talk about it. Great. Case,
version.
I can't. You know what's bothering me? This is therapy, right?
Yeah. It's a safe
It's
space.
just all of us talking.
Exactly.
24 hours ago,
Right.
you had the Phillies. You had them in their building. Extra innings. Should have won that game. Heartbreaking fashion. Something that hasn't been done since 1971. You lose walk-off style, catcher interference. What?
How?
And then last night felt a lot like remnants of that. Like it just rolled over like a 401k into that game last night.
Oh, it bled over.
Yes, like the air. Last night's game felt a lot like the air was out of the balloon.
Yeah.
It was just, there was no juice. There was, it took me back, not that far ago, to the Cubs series, where those first 2 games, right out of the gate, you get uppercut right in the jaw.
Yeah.
And then you're like praying to the baseball gods, please, Garrett Crochet, save us. And he did. And Alex Bregman did too in that game. But, I mean, I'm praying again to the baseball gods for Lucas Giolito tonight.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, we just got hit with 2 more haymakers against the Phillies. And really, the first game you should have won.
Yeah.
And it's the one that got away.
And we weren't expecting to kind of be in this hole.
Yeah.
One would say. I mean, you do have to call it a hole because now you have a lot more work to work against to remain in the wild card topic and conversation. I think what surprised me, and I'm pretty sure you already alluded to this, it's just kind of like some of the approach to the Cubs games before Crochet kind of closed things out for them, and then of course everything going on with the Phillies right now. It's just like an air of defeat in a way,
Yes.
or just like the pulse. Like I feel like we have to constantly do this pulse check to see where things are going to pick up for them. And when you and I were chatting on Friday about like the expectation and the momentum that we're hoping they can pull off of coming out of the All-Star break,
Yep.
the biggest thing that we were looking for was energy, was the excitement, and it's just kind of been not as there as
Dull.
I thought it would have been. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that leads to a bigger conversation of that has to be what you're talking about. It has to be level of competition.
Yeah.
It has to.
Well, because the other thing we mentioned too is like you can't show up in the later innings and just kind of like do this feel out in the first couple of innings either. But talk about a complete flip of retrospect, because a couple months ago we were just begging for these later innings to get more exciting and for them to be able to show up and kind of pack a punch. And it just it's tough because there's a lot of like lopsided review. What did I say? The villain that has many faces is what this team continues to go against, and that's a tough one because now it just kind of takes us into, is this going to make the trade heat up a little bit more, or are they going to still kind of stand firm and like nothing too crazy?
No, I think you got to go crazy. I do. And it's funny because during that win streak, I was saying, don't touch anything. They have the mojo. Don't trade anyone. But now it's clear. And that's why I said level of competition. I mean, the Rockies stink. They're historically bad. The Nationals are awful. The Rays, now we look and we say, oh, that series wasn't as impressive as we thought in the time. The games were exciting.
Yeah.
Walk-offs are great. But at the same time, that team wasn't playing well at that time, and they have not played well since coming out of the All-Star break. So it doesn't hold the same water and the same weight that it did at the moment when you swept them and you ran the win streak up to 10. Then you hit the All-Star break, you come out of it, and it has to be level of competition. You go to Wrigley, the Cubs are for real. They could be in the World Series. That's a potential World Series team.
Yeah.
So are these Phillies. I mean, you almost beat Zach Wheeler the other night. That's not a small feat.
Yeah.
So I just look now, and then, oh, hello, we should have this combo. The Dodgers are coming to town.
Yeah.
So some of this is, yes, we're giving them a hard time because you haven't been able to keep that same fun, that same excitement, that same juice that you had during the win streak. But what the hell are they supposed to do? These teams, this is murderer's row. Thank God it's National League.
Yes.
But still, I mean, these are 3 of the top 5 teams in the NL.
Right, and this is where you could have really challenged your lineup and seen how and where you can deliver. So let me ask you this, because we knew that the schedule was going to be complex coming out of All-Star break.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah, we weren't naive about that. But is there kind of like a 1 or 2 that we can point to and be like, hey, if we can make these corrections, then they're okay?
I think we all see the same thing. They need a bona fide second starter. And I personally would love a first baseman, an everyday, professional, legit first baseman with a bat. No platoon, no experiments.
You don't want to work anybody outside at first base and see what can be?
No.
What will be?
No. I literally want an ordinary, everyday first baseman with a bat, which you can find at the trade deadline, every trade deadline. That's not like... You're not asking too much. A second starter's a little dicey.
Well, because that's when you get into the heavy.
Yes.
Who are you?
What are you giving up?
Along? Exactly.
Absolutely. But both things are obtainable. Now we heard from the fans here. The other night, I bring up the loss to the Phillies against Wheeler. I was screaming that next day.
Yeah.
Play some small ball, would ya? Turns out I wasn't the only one screaming it. Take a listen.
Hi. I'm listening to the guys right now on Enter the Chat, and one of the guys is right. They got to play small ball a little bit more. I mean, I watched that first game against Philly. They had a guy on second base, nobody out. Lay down a bunch. Bring him over to third. You got 1 out. And what's the second guy do? He grounds out into shortstop. But still, you got to play a little small ball to get that run across. And Cora just does not do it enough. I don't think I've ever seen him play small ball when you have a guy on second, nobody out, and he doesn't try to tell the guy to lay down a bunt on that first base side and bring that guy over to third. Okay? Thank you.
You're welcome. Kasey, just lay down a bunt.
I'm glad you guys are on the same page. I have to ask this though. I'm losing all of my new to town cards, but I'll probably throw my second to last one down right here.
What?
He said he's never seen this team play small ball.
I mean, I don't believe that. I think he's just upset.
Okay.
But what I was saying was, I think in situational baseball moments, you have to be able to do it. And I've seen this team do it a few times this season. They just don't do it enough. That's all.
Okay.
That's all. Just, and it doesn't even have to be a bunt. Just make some contact.
So you want to see them strategize that just a little bit
Move the
more.
runner to third and then the home, and you win the game. I mean, it's a mind-blowing thing. Keith from Maine has an outside-of-the-box idea for first base. He heard me complaining about the platoon and the experiments. He heard it, and he wants to get involved with his idea. Take a listen to this.
Yes. Keith Clark in Southwest Alabama, Maine. Do not trade Duran. Put him on first base. You need a first baseman. He was a good shortstop. He won a Gold Glove at first base. Put him on there. Keep your outfielders. I don't understand why nobody's tried that. Thank you.
I mean, Keith, man, I'm done with the experiments. I hear you. Maybe Kasey has some love for you. I need a first baseman.
So I will say this: it's not the first time I have heard that pitch. No pun intended. When the first base conversation was really hot and we had unobstructed views, there was a load of fan tweets that came in with their recommendations. And outside of the cry for Christian Campbell to just move him to first base, it's as simple as that. There was a handful that said Duran. They said that he has the capability to do it.
I guess.
Drafted, was able to function at second base, so just pivot him over to first base. He can make it work.
I know. Last guy said
experimentation.
Last guy said he wouldn't play first base. Now, 5 minutes later, he's playing first base.
And they're
across the
tweeting
country.
that they're undefeated with him on first base. I
Whatever.
love the exaggerated tweets.
Hey, more of Boston has entered the chat next. Don't you go nowhere now. We're still partying. Football season's back. Stay with us. Time now for what's trending in the world of sports in your group chat. Not for the Cincy Sallies. If you have sensitive eyelashes in our group chat, you don't belong.
Which I do. But I'm here, so let's see how I can contribute. Me and my eyelashes on this day. Look, they cut right to the camera, too. Guys, no left eye action today. I asked nicely. Rare Form Wednesday, let's get it.
Speaking of sensitive,
Yeah.
Raffy Devers played first base last night for the Giants. They beat the Braves. Big win for the Giants. 2 hits, an RBI, no errors. Okay, Raffy. Where was that energy here? Where was that energy here?
You know, I feel so disconnected from this situation because we know how quickly I like to turn a page on a person in a situation. But I will say this, of course, the analysts were like, this wasn't shots fired at, the Red Sox and what he didn't want to do in Boston. It was more so because his play was getting stagnant over there and they needed to get the legs and the body moving. And they're saying that there was momentum in putting him at first base and having his brain and everything be active besides just doing the DH deal. So there goes that exhale again. We're exhaling a lot today. Talk to me. What did you make of this? When the tweet pops up, how did your ex haunt you in this moment?
This is a family show,
This is a family show.
so I'm gonna keep it clean. But Raffy, I'm happy for you, man. But you're out there, bro. We got fish to fry here in Boston. You know what I mean? I am done. I actually hope this is the last Raffy story we ever do.
I told you, disconnected.
I'm with you now.
Yeah.
I see the vision now.
Yeah.
I'm ready to move on. I don't give a damn. Like, he's a good player. The whole point here was, bro, you can help the team by going to first.
Yeah.
We need you. He could have did this here.
Yeah.
He didn't want to do it. He gets to the Bay. He's there for 5 minutes. He said, I'm so happy to be here. I'll play first. Okay, well, we're done here.
Well,
right?
yeah.
And now he's helping them. Go figure. You could have did it here. You didn't. You're there. Good luck and good night. I'm done talking about him.
Yeah.
I'm done.
And the other reason I'm done with the conversation is it was the whole I'll do whatever it takes over here, and then it was he's swerving his first base coach or the guy, the legend
Clark.
that wants to help him.
Yes.
And then the full context of that conversation was never released. It's just like the emotional roller coaster that is.
I'm done.
Yeah.
I can't.
I don't even
can't.
like roller coasters that much.
Me either.
Yeah.
I can't watch everything that he does with the Giants.
Yeah, every single move,
Yes.
every single
And think, well, what if? Like,
Right.
bro, okay, you chose your side, dog. Like,
Yeah.
we have other things here.
Yeah.
And eventually, this team's going to figure out first base and be just fine.
Exactly.
Like, I'm done with Raffy. Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
We're doing it here.
Deleted off the socials.
Bye. Good luck. Patriots unveil the dates for their new throwback unis. So they're wearing throwback unis this season.
Yep.
Here we go. Do you like these, Case? I really like the throwback.
I was gonna say I like them. The clean white pant is always
Yeah.
something that you just want to see how teams are gonna make it pop, and it pops so hard with the red, and then capping off with the helmets. I'm a fan of this actually. It just feels like I'm being taken back to nostalgic Patriots football.
Okay, now
What do
I'm
you
not
think?
gonna lie. Keep that. Hold on. Go back to that tweet. Now, week 3.
We gotta put our 2020
yeah,
on.
You got to see in the small print there. It's week 3 against the Steelers and week 13 against the Giants, which is a Monday nighter.
The
That's when
Giants
these-
thing I feel some type of way about.
What do you
Not gonna
mean?
lie.
What do you mean?
Well, it drives me nuts when teams have like similar colors, and the distinction is just like
Yeah,
is
hard
you're
to-
you're working crazy hard to see everything clearly.
I actually just saw a tweet where the Steelers announced when they're wearing their throwback unis. I hope it's not week 3 in this game because their uniforms are disgusting. They look like Bumblebee. Like I just broke out of 1920s jail with a with a bag of
Shawshank
coins.
Redemption.
It ain't even cash; it's coins. They're getting in the Dick Tracy car to get away.
If they play into it, I wouldn't be mad.
I would be. I love the Patriots throwbacks. I can't stand the Steelers throwbacks. They look like bumblebees running around out there. But my only thing is this. So we have 2 weeks. I said week 3 Steelers, right? Week 13 Giants Monday nighter. Why can't we get them more? Why? Why?
I don't
Why is it
understand
only
the
2 weeks?
twofer, yeah.
Let me get more. Pat the Patriot.
And be more strategic with the games. Like when it's these like bullish matchups and stuff, that's where you want to see a throwback jersey because that's when you're kind of honoring the history of the team, of the franchise. Like
Yeah.
I feel like we should put a little bit more behind that, not just be like, oh, you're rocking it on week 3 versus somebody that you never had animosity or rivalries with. Like I want to see a rival matchup in throwback jerseys.
So like every time you play the Bills, every time you play like that.
Give
type.
me
Yeah, I
throwbacks
got you.
versus the Bills.
I got you.
Are you kidding?
That does make sense. That makes more
Yes.
sense. I'm sure there's a rhyme and reason for this stuff. We don't know it. We just report on it when they're doing it.
True.
We never get the why. But yeah, that's a good point. I would rather see it in marquee matchups. Although, even though you don't like the dichotomy of the 2 uniforms, Monday night against the Giants is a big spot. Like
Yeah.
that's a good spot to do it. To your point,
Right.
If you're gonna do it on a Monday night or
You
a
know
big
what'll
prime
make it
time.
better? An
What?
absolute beating on the Giants.
Oh.
If that game ends up being wonky, which we had a lot of just like freakish,
Yeah.
weird Monday night football games last year. So maybe that's another reason I'm a bit on the
Maybe.
reserve here.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of unwatchable Monday night football games.
Yeah, it hasn't
so
been great.
They have to come out there in throwback jerseys and like statement play. That's
Sunday
all I
night,
would see.
Sunday night's where it's at.
Yeah.
Those are the best matchups. By the way, I saw you Googling trying to, I'm guessing you were trying to see the Steelers throwbacks?
No, I was trying to
Oh,
figure out
all
when
right.
the Saints are going to put their dusty ones on, but it just says sometime after the season start on September 7th.
Okay.
You know,
That's my mistake because I thought you were looking up the Steelers' ugly throwbacks, and our esteemed producer, Ethan, got it for us. Look how ugly these are. Somebody look at this. I mean, what is this? Killer bees? This is disgusting, and you know it, Case.
But like, okay, so what's happening behind the number? That looks like their chest padding that they wear underneath. Like they almost try to do an X-ray thing. It just
Yeah.
it doesn't. None of it works.
Yeah.
And then what color are the pants?
Yeah.
Are those supposed to be
Gross.
gold?
They're gross. That's the color. And
Gross.
yeah, this is
Yeah.
disgusting. I hope they don't wear these on week 3. Does it say it? Oh, it doesn't. It's just explaining how ugly it is. Great.
Is that supposed to be the steel wall behind the number?
It looks like a jail for when you pull a caper, like I said, and you jump in the Dick Tracy car to get away. That's what it
Actually,
looks
those
like.
would be great uniforms. What's the Adam Sandler movie, The Longest Yard?
Longest yard?
Those would be great uniforms.
That's a
for the
great
longest
call.
Yard.
That's
yeah.
exactly what it looks
You
like.
can sew those up in prison for sure.
All right, another trending. Terps head coach Mike Locksley admitted he, quote, lost the locker room over which players to compensate. The Terps went 4-8 last season. I really like him, covered him. He's a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was going to get fired after going 4-8 because expectations there, even though it's a basketball school,
Right. And
football-wise, and lacrosse,
Yeah.
football-wise, they've poured in a ton of resources in the football program.
Mm-hmm.
They're putting players in the league, but they're not winning games.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, he's cooked. Quote, I own the fact that I lost my locker room. I mean, I had to choose between paying young players who are coming in or reward the older players who have been through the fire, putting in the work. 3 bowl wins. I tried to do both with limited resources, and that's what you get, a locker room with the haves and have-nots. Casey, this is college football.
Right. And
Remember,
we're talking money issues.
Did you not? You were a college athlete, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
for a short stint.
You went to college to play sports and get an education.
Yeah.
Remember when that was a thing?
Yep. Cheered my freshman year, soccer my sophomore year.
It's just like now it's a job.
Yeah.
It's a job.
100%.
This is like pro sports.
And I feel like there's a massive disservice here because, of course, we wanted athletes to get paid and we wanted there to be a little bit more respect on their name with the money that they're bringing into these institutes.
Sure.
But I just feel like we kind of missed the crash course of like how to handle this. You know, you've got kids that are making money that are like the entry level or base salaries for professional athletes.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at it in a number of ways. So how do you manage that kind of locker room? And we've seen it be a test for a number of teams and a number of head coaches. I brought up Dabo earlier just because they decided to shut down the transfer portal to basically minimize and not have to deal with this stuff. You're trying to have professional conversations with kids that are just now coming in and figuring out their identity, their future, and if that future is realistic and promising. So it's just too many moving pieces without the right context and conversation helping these coaches, helping these players, and it's getting out of hand.
I have another quote for you. This one's heartbreaking too. Quote, you go outside my locker room now, I have a sign that says, leave your Louis belts, leave your financial statements and your car keys outside of this locker room because in here we're all going to pay the same price for success or failure. He goes on and says, if I have to put my desk in their locker room, I will. Wow.
Let me ask you this. What's the first thing people say as to why they love college football over the NFL?
Because of the pageantry, because of the passion, because it's collegiate and there's more passion and there's more, they care more.
And a lot of the passion and the drive
business.
was the fact that they had to make a statement with their college numbers in order to even touch the next level. So again, there has to be a balance to this because when you hear about kids that are loading up private jets and walking in with their belts and stuff like that, like I want you to get your money, but you need to learn how to manage and handle $50,000 or $75,000 before you're running around with $170K in your
but
pocket.
you can't say that, Case, because then they'll accuse you of not wanting the players to get paid, which I feel like we both are fine with. There just needs to be some guardrails.
Why does the pay have to go all the way through the rails? That's my question.
There needs to be guardrails.
The average American makes how much?
Right.
Okay, so let's get to a normal baseline so that they can learn how to manage their money. And then, maybe by senior year, you could be talking about much more money. I'm not trying to take money out of their pocket.
Yes.
Financial education is more so where we're kind of lapsing here because it is changing the dynamic of these locker rooms. And it's a headache for coaches. It's a headache for recruiting. And it's a headache for these transfer portals that are quite figuratively driving me mental.
Can we just start a petition to get Kasey Hudson to run the NCAA?
Worked up.
I will sign it, and I know you will. Hey, in fact, let's do this. 617-790-0928. Call in if you want Kasey to run the whole world. I'm down with it.
This just tells you that my mom is finance. This tells you how I grew up. Military brat with a mother who is in finance, and her nickname is Pitbull with lipstick.
I'm hearing it. Still to come here on Boston has entered the chat. To trade or not to trade? That's a question. That's the answer, too. That's a question for the Patriots. I told you she's going to run the world. That's a question for the Patriots. We'll give our answer. Spoiler alert, we already know hers. Next on Boston has entered the chat. Roll with us.
Trade.
Time now for a game of Would You Rather? Would you rather trade, if you're the Patriots, for Trey Hendrickson or Terry McLaurin? Time on the clock. Do, 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 do. Kasey, the answer's in, and it's...
Oh. I'm so selfish. I want both. I want both. But if
you had to pick one.
If one really, really had to choose, it comes down to if we're committing to this rebuild conversation, then you've got young talent that basically you don't have to go crazy and add McLaurin. But even though we talk about the veteran presence, how he'll level up the offense immediately, if you're going rebuild and you have a defense that is just a complete wrecking ball to go against.
Looks like it.
You know what I mean? And then think of the timetable career-wise on both of these guys. You can be one of the most formidable defenses for a couple of years while you allow young talent on the offense to get their legs underneath them. But because of the expectation and the conversations around the Patriots, I would go McLaurin. Yeah.
You took me for a loop there. I thought you were going to go
I know. I took you all the way around the
essentially,
neighborhood.
if I'm hearing you,
it's
because you like where the defense is already.
Yes. I like where their defense.
You like Trey Hendrickson,
We're talking more confidently about the defense than we are the offense.
Okay.
And then you have a team that's now dancing on the conversation of 7 to 9 wins. Some people losing it, talking about 11. In order for any of that to become reality, you got to minimize what this wide receiving room could be. You got to make that a solvable conversation.
Right.
So bring in McLaurin, veteran presence, deep threat. You don't really have the reliability of calling anyone a deep threat. Somebody who's got good route running, who can really help and speak to the progress of Drake May, because look what he did with a young quarterback in Washington, D.C. So that's what I mean by, like, if we're really going to do this whole we're retooling versus rebuilding, it's McLaurin. If we're rebuilding, get the wrecking ball in Hendrickson.
Well, listen, there's drama surrounding both. Let's get into that. We'll start with Trey Hendrickson because the Bengals are an unserious organization. Diana Rossini has a tweet here. Like, they are so unserious in that this guy has literally said, I'm willing to take less to make this work. So here it is. Just spoke the Bengals pass rusher, Trey Hendrickson, who's currently in Jacksonville, Florida. Florida in the house for the last 30 days and has been in his home in Cincinnati in training. As camp approached, he and his wife decided to dip out. They received 2 different offers in a 24-hour span, none containing the guarantees past the first year he was looking for. Listen to this case. Hendrickson didn't want to hear the practice whistles while being a distraction to his teammates, so he and his wife, Alyssa, decided to pack up and head to Florida. Down in Jacksonville, Hendrickson continues to train, hoping that a deal can be worked out. Here's a part that sends me, quote, I was more than willing to take less in some ways in order to make this work. Kasey, This is a Bengals defense that is a sieve. They are atrocious.
Yep.
They have given all their money to offensive players, okay?
Yep.
They don't have any money left. This dude's telling you your best defensive player, arguably the best in the league the last few years, certainly
Yes.
the most productive, certainly the most available,
Yep.
okay? He doesn't get hurt. He's durable. This guy's telling you, I'm willing to take less to stay here. Give me what you got. And they still can't make it work.
You know what we're doing, though? We're asking the Bengals to make sense. And when is the last time the Bengals made sense? This should have been an easy lock-in. Since halfway through last season, you should have already had the numbers and been agreeable, because you're talking about an offense that you invested in that, yeah, they put up the points. They loaded up on the points. They couldn't protect the points ever.
Right.
Ever, never, ever. And that's so frustrating for an offense when they're putting in that much work and they're not being able to be protected on the defensive side of the ball. One guy who was able to somewhat keep it interesting is Hendrickson.
That's all they had.
And you're talking about somebody who, if you're putting him in the category of like, hey, maybe because of age and this and time, no, it doesn't make sense, because Myles Garrett got paid at 29 years old. TJ Watt just landed the bag at 30 years old. And you're talking about a pillar on your defense who needs help. And for somebody who's been the only guy functioning on this defense,
the only one.
The durability.
The only
one. We're not
one.
hearing about injuries. We're not hearing about him missing a bunch of time. He is still sitting top of the charts when it comes to numbers and statistics. And, the sack column, like getting to the quarterback so consistently over and over again. This is something that should have already been sorted out, not doing this weird dance. And then, of course, he feels wounded and disrespected.
Of course, he
you
should.
go grab other draft picks on the defensive side of the ball, and you're basically over here like, maybe we just need to do a whole fresh take when it comes to defense. If that's your method, go for it. But they should have been honest in where they were going with this, rather than dragging out this entire conversation with the guy and making it seem like he's not worth the pennies. He's worth every penny, dollar bill, $100 bills, and more, because he's the only reason you guys have been able to stay and have a pulse in anything.
You know, it's funny you bring up drafting defense.
Mm-hmm.
The kid they drafted in the first round, Shamar Stewart,
Yeah.
they still haven't paid him. He's like, bro,
Well,
you
you
guys
said it.
aren't
What
giving
money?
me that. There's no money.
Yeah.
They are a mess. I think they made a big mistake not trading Trey Hendrickson on draft night.
Yeah.
And I was saying then, not that the Patriots should move any of their picks per se, but I thought the Patriots should have got involved that night. Because I just feel like that guy was there for the taking on draft night. Maybe you could move around some draft assets here or there, and you get him in at a bargain. Now, you can absolutely hold the Bengals' feet to the fire, because what leg do they have to stand on? The season starts in 5 minutes. This guy still isn't under contract. You can't afford him.
Yeah.
He already said, listen, I don't know everything about business, but I know enough. When someone tells you, I'll take a little bit less to stay, and you can't pony up, you've already lost him. What are you going to do now? Come back with less than what he agreed to? I'll take a little less. Now you're going to come back with, you're going to lose this guy. It's not going to work. You should trade him and just get what you get.
Yeah.
If you get a bag of balls, a Code Red Mountain Dew, and some Cape Cod chips, that's your fault, not his. That's not his problem. So I say all that to say, my answer is New England, get on the phone. Get Trey Hendrickson here. I hear you.
So that's your pick?
Yes.
Okay.
And I hear you with, listen, like, I think you're right. I think from team need, Terry McLaurin fits a need more. And we'll get into his drama in a second.
Right.
But Trey Hendrickson, I think my greed's taking over, because A, the Patriots can afford him, okay, because he wants to get paid. Pay him whatever he wants.
He plays that hard-nosed football that
Yes.
he's going to be
He's a
able
Vrabel-
to thrive under.
That's where I'm going.
Yeah, Vrabel
That's
guy.
where I'm going.
Yeah.
You can afford both technically, but you can pay
That's
this
why
guy.
I said I'm selfish.
I know, me too.
Exactly.
You can afford both. He's a Vrabel. He fits everything. Fits culture. Check every box. Boom, 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 boom. But here's where now I say my greed gets involved. I think you can get him for pennies on the dollar now in terms of trade capital.
Right.
Because what choice do the Bengals have? They're so moronic. They blew this whole thing. Now you call up and you say, look, I'll give you this, a fourth round, and that.
Yeah.
They have to do it. So I would trade for Trey Hendrickson, and I think him on this defense, to your point, now you're cooking with gas.
Yeah.
That will take you over the top. This defense, we think, is going to be pretty good. You get a Trey Hendrickson, you are elite on the defensive end. No debate.
Well, because then look at strength of schedule. You're looking at teams that they can easily flex from being better defensively versus having too much expectation from the offense. I mean, they open up what
Let's
versus the
get into it
Raiders?
here.
Yeah.
At home against the Raiders, you go to Miami, home against Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, home against Carolina. I mean, that's just the first month. Yeah, like this
So,
is it. And then obviously the
Raiders
rest.
quarterback completely being
a mess.
on the grass.
Tua concussed.
There you go.
Rodgers on acid. Do we even know if Bryce Young's any good in Carolina? We don't know.
But can he be shaken up by a guy like Hendrickson? Absolutely.
By the way, Tyler Shuck is on this schedule.
Shake him up.
Cam Ward, a rookie's on this schedule.
Shake him
Whoever's
up.
playing quarterback for Cleveland's on this schedule. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, I would go get Trey Hendrickson, but let's get into Terry McLaurin's drama
Right.
because here we go with him, too. Now, I think the asking price, trade-wise, because the Commanders are a well-run organization now, I think it's going to be harder to get a Terry McLaurin. And remember, you have to pay him.
Right.
I have to bring that up. The Patriots have the money, but we have to discuss that. These guys want to get paid. That's why there's drama.
Exactly.
So, Shefty tweeted about this and Rappaport tweeted about this. It is official now. Terry McLaurin is holding out. He did not report to training camp. He's not present for any conditioning test. He ain't showing up. Don't call my phone unless it's about the money. So this is another one where now the Commanders are in a different place than the Bengals in that they are a serious franchise, which is why I'd rather take advantage of the Bengals and go get Trey Hendrickson for cheaper.
Yeah.
But Terry does help this team more, I think.
Again, it just
It's more of a
depends on
need.
what the goal actually is. Because
Yeah.
what I will say, and I don't want to seem like I'm contradicting my previous statement here, but what I will say is you're not hearing Hendrickson being in the category of I'm going for a contending team. I want to contend. I want to
No.
contend. There's so many question marks around what the Bengals are potentially going to do,
Right.
and if they'll make it back to a postseason. He just wanted to be a part of an organization and feel that respect. So that will
Yes.
change the money, and that will change the negotiation tactic. But then you've got McLaurin, who's coming out of a postseason that they were never supposed to be in, and I feel like that caliber of leadership and skill and capability could push this team a little bit further than expected and really make the AFC East or the AFC as a whole that much more intriguing.
Oh my gosh, Case, they have 59, they as in the Patriots, $59 million in cap space.
So how do I get both?
How do we get both of these players?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Get them both. That's the answer, right? You have 59 million.
It's
The
a
next
big-
closest team are the Lions, by the way. We should talk about this. The Lions, 48 million in cap space. They can afford Trey Hendrickson, and they need him.
See, that's the thing. There's
They need
there's
him.
about 2 or 3
That's a
actual
contending team.
contending teams that need that bullish defensive player, and they could go out, they could pay him, and they could potentially get him in the postseason or chase him a ring.
And then you take pressure off Aiden Hutchinson, too, coming back from injury.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, assuming he's okay, you have those two. Oh, my God. Patriots, you got to go get this guy. The last thing I want to see is him in a Lions uniform.
And he's used to playing and having a 1-2 punch in the
Yeah,
mouth
he
when it
is.
comes to defense, because we talked about Hubbard, the one other guy who was
Yep.
close to his numbers for a number of seasons. So
We'll open this debate up to you. Hendrickson or McLaurin, or both, option C. 617-790-0928. We want to hear from you. Tweet at us using the hashtag NESSANChat. Email us, thechat@nesson.com. Every platform to get to us. We are there for you, and we always appreciate you rolling with us here on Boston Has Entered the Chat. Now that's on Nesson. The party keeps going on Nesson Nation, though, so roll with us there. Peace.